is Elektra. Welcome to our DBT podcast. I am here with Lexi and Maria. Hello, girls. How are you doing?
Good.
Doing all right.
Glad to have you. So, we're going to be doing this DBT podcast. We're going to try to do it every week on Thursdays. So, we would love to have you come back and listen to us ramble on about DBT therapy and other things. We may talk about other things as well. So, DBT. What is DBT? DBT is a type of therapy. It's dialectical behavioral therapy, which sounds weird, but it's actually pretty cool. So I was trying to find my page because I totally forgot that I actually needed to go over what that was. Do either of you have the DBT definition?
I lost the beginning pages of my book if it was in there, but I can look it up online real quick.
Okay.
Honestly, I still get confused about what dialectical means. Isn't it like you can have sort of two different feelings or ideas simultaneously?
Okay, so it says dialectical behavioral therapy is a type of cognitive behavioral therapy. Its main goal is to teach people how to live in the moment, develop healthy ways to cope with stress, regulate their emotions, and improve their relationships with others. DBT was originally intended to treat borderline personality disorder, but it has been adapted to treat other mental health conditions. It can help people who have difficulty with emotion regulation or are exhibiting self-destructive behaviors, such as eating disorders and substance use disorders. The type of therapy is also sometimes used to treat PTSD.
Which is good because I have a few of those things that are mentioned. So
I was
Yeah.
checking off every freaking box, dude.
I know. I was like, wow, interesting. But yeah, so we're all in a DBT group together. It is group therapy. Right now, it's done on Zoom. When I first started this therapy, it was done on Zoom, or I probably wouldn't have went because it's hard to get up in the mornings sometimes. So we're just sharing some of the things that we're learning with everybody because it's helped us and we want to be able to help others. So, what is mindfulness? Mindfulness is intentionally living with awareness in the present moment. So, it's without judging or rejecting the moment and without attachment to the moment. So when you're washing dishes, you're not thinking about everything else that you have to do. When you're taking a walk, you are noticing the sounds and the smells, and looking at things and just enjoying being present instead of having your mind elsewhere. So that is mindful. You can be mindful in your sleeping, in your eating, really in anything that you do.
It's hard to get into that if you're not used to it. Like for me at least, because I've lived most of my life the opposite, like mindless, just like off in some other world in my head. But it's been helpful to at least try. Like I'm noticing a change.
Yeah, it's definitely something that you have to practice. It's very hard to get into the habit, but it is a habit. And they say, I think it's like 3 weeks of doing something and it becomes a habit. So you just got to do it consistently. And I'm trying to do it, especially with eating, trying to be more mindful about eating. And just being present when I'm with people, I think is important because like when I'm out and about, I have really major social anxiety and I'm thinking about all these things instead of, enjoying the people that I'm with.
Too. I'm worried about how I seem, how should I act, what are they
Mhm.
talking about? Should I even say anything? A lot of stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Maria, were you going to say something?
I was just gonna say I'm like that too. And whenever I tried the being present in a conversation with my husband's nephew a long time ago, it's whenever I first started realizing that means that I'll be a better friend. I'll be more attentive to their needs and not so caught up in my own thoughts and emotions that I don't give them the proper time and attention. And so that's something that I've been working on for the past year is being involved and attentive to relationships. And that's really helps me build stronger relationships.
Yeah, absolutely. Because if they're noticing that you're actually listening to what they're saying instead of just oh wait, what'd you say? And you're paying attention, then it makes the person feel good.
Yeah, that's a good point, Maria.
So absolutely. Okay, and
Do you guys have like a meditation practice? Do you do that regularly or ever? I'm trying to.
I'm trying to. I just downloaded Headspace.
That's a good one.
Yeah, it is a paid for app, but I got a 60-day free trial that I have to remember to cancel in 60 days because I'm definitely not going to be able to afford it. Um, but I keep meaning to do it. I don't know, like sometimes my mind's just too jumbly for me to sit down and actually meditate.
I still feel almost like afraid of getting deep in my mind. Like, I don't even want to go there. Let's just stay distracted and like play a game or do something else. But when I actually sit down and do meditate, but all I use are like guided meditations, like I always feel better afterwards. It's just getting myself to do it that is a struggle.
I know, like when we're forced to, like with group, um, I enjoy it. So I don't know why I don't do it on my own. I pray at night, of course, and I consider that my meditation because I do take some time out, and I've been trying to be more mindful in my prayer because sometimes I'll be praying, then I'll start thinking about other things, and I'm like, well, that's just rude. So
Oh,
I'm like, oh gosh, I'm a horrible person. So I'm trying to be more mindful in that too.
I think that's part also of ADHD, or if you have ADHD, I don't know, but that's the way my brain works sometimes too. Is I'll be like praying about something that's really important to me, and then all of a sudden I'll have this other thought and forget that I'm praying, and then all of a sudden I remember, and it's like, oh, I'm sorry.
I mean, it's just human. That's what our brains
Yeah.
do. Like, think of random things.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's just funny that thought occurred to me. But we were also going to talk about wise mind. Rachel, I think you had the definition for that.
Yes. At least I thought I did. All I have is this like Venn
Yeah,
diagram.
that's it.
Okay. Um, so reasonable mind is like one end of the spectrum, and then the other end is emotional mind. Wise mind is like the goal. That's where we want to be. It's in the middle. It's balanced. Like, sorry, reasonable mind. Examples of that are you're cool and rational and task focused. And so when you're in that sort of mindset, you're ruled by facts, reason, logic, and values and feelings are not important. They just don't equate at all.
You're Sheldon
Emotion.
Cooper.
What?
You're
Sheldon
Sheldon
Cooper.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry.
And then, so the opposite end of the scale is emotion mind. Instead of being like cool headed, sort of like hot and just, depends on your mood. It's mood dependent, emotion focused. So when you're in that sort of state, you're ruled by moods, feelings, and urges to do or say things. And you don't care, or you don't even think about facts, reason, logic. That's where I spent a lot of my life. So wise mind brings those two together, and it's described here as the wisdom within each person, seeing the value of both reason and emotion, because they are both good things, just we need balance. Bringing the left and right brain together, and it's also known as the middle path. There's some ideas we've got from our group about how to practice wise mind, because it definitely gets easier with practice if you haven't really spent much time in there. So one of them is a stone flake on the lake. I guess this is like a visualization kind of meditation thing. So you imagine that you're by a clear blue lake on a beautiful sunny day. Then imagine you are a small flake of stone, flat and light. Imagine that you have been tossed out onto the lake and are now gently, slowly floating through the calm, clear blue water to the lake's smooth, sandy bottom. So notice what you see, what you feel as you float down, perhaps in slow circles, floating toward the bottom. As you reach the bottom of the lake, settle your attention there within yourself. Notice the serenity of the lake. Become more aware of the calmness and the deep quiet within. And as you reach the center of yourself, settle your attention there. It's a complicated one. Should I read through the others? There's like a bunch here. I didn't realize there were so many. I do like this one. Sort of like focus on your breathing. And as you breathe in, say to yourself, wise. As you breathe out, say mind. And just focus your attention on that and try to like just get in touch with that part of yourself that is logical but also understands emotion too. You can also like ask yourself, is this wise mind, like this action or this thought or this plan? So just breathe, focus on your breath, and listen for the answer. But don't just like give yourself the answer. Don't just say whatever you're kind of wanting it to be. Just listen for it and wait, because you have that wise mind. All of us do. We just have to tap into it. There's a lot of exercises that you can find online, and a lot of like guided meditations that will help you get to that sort of space. And I think it's easier than just reading something and being like, okay, let me try to do that, because it doesn't work for me.
No,
A lot of this
absolutely.
is focusing on the breathing, so that helps
Yeah.
me a lot.
So, reasonable mind is no emotion, wise mind is facts, and emotion mind is no reasoning. So, I stay in emotion mind a lot. Yeah, pretty dramatic.
A lot of us do.
So, sometimes I'll catch myself and I'll be like, wait a second. I'm not being very wise right now. I need to be in that wise mind. And when you do DBT, you do start to catch yourself, and you start to see these habits that you've formed and you've done all your life, and you just like catch yourself and you're like, oh wait, I'm not being very reasonable right now.
This is a totally other like topic of DBT or whatever, but like apologizing too much, I've always been like that for the smallest little thing, and I've been catching myself in my head now, and sometimes I even catch myself before I say it. Like it's amazing. I never thought I could get any better at that, because it's just this reflex.
Yeah, that's actually one of my homework with my therapist is I'm supposed to catch myself when I'm not being very nice to myself. So we were going to go over some what skills. I think Maria, you had those.
I do. This will really help you get to that wise mind. One of the things that was said in DBT was that the what skills, the observe of the what skill, is really the bedrock of mindfulness. So the three what skills are observe, describe, and participate. Whenever you do observe, it's just like what it sounds. You're noticing uh, and being very present and in the moment instead of thinking about things about the future, things about the past. You're very focused on what's going around you. One of the things it says to do is practice wordless watching. And this is something hard for me to do, but it really does help with those intrusive thoughts and things that perhaps you would get stuck on. It says, watch thoughts come into your mind and then let them slip by like clouds in the sky. Notice each feeling rising and falling like waves in the ocean. So, whenever you do your observe skill and you're listening to the thoughts in your mind, you're not grabbing on to any of them and focusing on the bad stuff or even the good stuff, just you're allowing them to flow. And that's something that's always been difficult for me to do, but it really does help, especially whenever you're having like racing thoughts or anything like that. It kind of calms you down whenever you start observing them instead of focusing on them. The describe skill, um, it puts words on the experience. So whenever you get this thought in your head, you acknowledge it. You can say, like, say it, you're feeling sad or something like that. It says, sadness has just enveloped me. And you describe what it is that you're feeling or what it is you're seeing or what it is you're doing. And it kind of pulls you back to the here and now whenever you start describing the things that you're seeing, hearing, feeling, and all that. Instead of making them overwhelming, you're labeling them.
Hmm.
So, another thing that it says is be accurate and make it be just the facts. Describe who, what, when, and where that you observe. So instead of being judgmental about your thought that you did terrible on that test, so you're stupid. Instead of focusing on that thought, you observe it and then you think of the facts. Well, I didn't do great on that test, but it doesn't mean I'm stupid. It's just observing that you've thought that and trying to move past it. The last one is participate. Now, this is the one that I in some of it, do okay. But, like, it suggests to be completely, throw yourself completely into the activities of the current moment, right? So, if you're washing the dishes, which is, I have to have music going and stuff like that. But what if you focused on the sensations that you had, the bubbles that are popping, the smell of the soap, things like that, being in the moment. Another way to do this is being in the moment with a friend on the phone or a friend even one-on-one or in a group, focusing on the here and now and the activities and being a part of that and not worrying about the future or the things around you. So the last one I really like, it says go with the flow, respond with spontaneity. What I put down under that is don't label the entire day from one moment. I think that's something that a lot of people can do, including myself. And I can obsess over one thing that happened and be very uncomfortable for the rest of the day. But that doesn't have to happen. If you use your DBT skills, then you'll be able to acknowledge, observe, describe, and then you'll be able to let it go so that you can have a better day.
Absolutely. I do like these skills. So I did put a link for the book that we're all using in the chat. This is what all our worksheets come out of. You can also find some good resources just by Googling DBT. I think it's like DBT Self-Help is one of the websites that's free. Let me Google it real quick. Yeah, dbtselfhelp.com. And I'll put that in the chat too.
Cool. I haven't even checked that out yet. Thanks.
You're welcome. Yeah, there's a lot of good resources. Not everybody has insurance, and we know that. That's one of the reasons why we're doing the podcast. Just helping people. We lost Maria. Or I did. I lost her.
She's not in the... There she comes. Please stand by.
Sorry about that.
You're fine. We were playing peekaboo with you. But yeah, we know that not everybody has insurance. That's one of the reasons why we wanted to do the podcast, so we can share these skills with you and it'll help you. You know, you don't, if you can go to therapy, then that's great. But if for some reason you can't afford it, there are resources out there for you. So definitely take advantage of those. We'd love to share these skills with you because we know that they work.
Absolutely. I've been amazed at how much better I feel than before I started it. And I know I mean, some of it can be attributed to, individual therapy, medication, doing stuff that makes you feel better. But I didn't really start doing stuff that made me feel better until I had actually, you know, applied some of these things. And when I first started in October, up until, I don't know, maybe a couple months ago, I was such a slacker. Like, I would not do the homework. I would show up late. I didn't even come quite a few days. And I wish I had, because it really can help a lot of issues. Like, every single issue that I have is, addressed in there. I wish they would teach some of this stuff in school, especially the interpersonal stuff, because it's so complex, I think.
Yeah, I think it would definitely help in school. Absolutely. Now thinking about it, I know that certain workplaces are trying to do more mindfulness stuff. They're trying to incorporate it. It's definitely something that's much needed.
The stop skill that we mentioned last week, I think it ties in really well with the wise mind, because if you can pull yourself out of the emotion or whatever it is, the urge to do something that isn't too good for you or whatever it may be, just stop and then try to, get in touch with your wise mind. Consider the emotions you're feeling and also consider the facts. And what you think about a situation, how it seems to you, those are not facts. And it's taken me a while to learn that. I thought that whatever was in my mind must be true. That person just hates me and that's how it is. No,
Yeah.
I have to get outside of myself and sort of try to look at it from a third person perspective. And, once you do that, and if you can, I don't know what I'm trying to say, I'm rambling, but I think all the skills work together really well. So the more that you get into this and read it and practice it, it just sort of expands upon itself.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. So the stop skill that she's talking about, the S stands for stop, the T stands for take a step back, O stands for observe, and P stands for proceed mindfully. So it's definitely good. It's good. For the S, you do not just react. You stop, freeze, do not move a muscle. Your emotions may try to make you act without thinking. Stay in control and take a step back. Take a step back from the situation. Take a break. Let go. Take a deep breath. Do not let your feelings make you act impulsively, which is, I'm so impulsive too.
Yes.
And that always gets me in trouble.
Whenever we went over the stop skill, our the therapist who does it, one of the things that he had mentioned is if you need to stop and take your break, then you don't have to do it. Obviously, you can go to the bathroom, or you can even communicate and say, "Listen, I gotta take 5 minutes. This is getting too much. I just need to just give me a few minutes." And I really appreciated that because I don't always, whenever it comes to applying this skill, I don't always do the take a step back because I get nervous that I'm doing something wrong by needing a minute. Like I'm not being fully involved or whatever because I need a minute. And that's not a healthy way to go. So that's definitely something that I have been working on, because if you don't take a step back whenever you're in distress tolerance, or whenever you're in distress and do this stop skill, then you can really start acting impulsively instead and saying things you don't mean and stuff like that. So that taking a step back, I think, is really one of the most important parts of the stop skill.
No, absolutely.
Thank you, Elektra, for going into what stop skill actually is, because I do not have that in my brain yet. Like,
Look here.
for me, it just literally just means stop. Like,
See these, my little
there's a lot more
tabs?
to it.
I have tabs, and then I have the skill written on the tab, so I can easily go to it.
So do I.
Yeah, I try because I'm trying to use them. But O stands for observe. Notice what's going on inside and outside you. What is the situation? What are your thoughts and feelings? What are others saying or doing? And then P is proceed mindfully, act with awareness. In deciding what to do, consider your thoughts and feelings, the situation, and other people's thoughts and feelings. Think about your goals. Ask wise mind which actions will make it better or worse. So it's like if I could just do that each time instead of acting impulsively, instead of making that tweet or DMing that person and going off, then things would be a lot better and I could actually sit and think and then I wouldn't make that tweet or say that to that person because I would be thinking more rationally.
Gives your mind an opportunity to think with your wise mind and not your emotion mind.
Yeah.
When I look back on my life and all the stupid, crazy, impulsive decisions I've made, and sort of in this new light of, you could have thought, and I don't know, I'm trying to not make it into regrets because, I mean, it is in the past. I can't change it. And all we have right now is right now and hopefully, more of the future. So I'm glad that I am learning these skills because I can see so many different ways that it could help me.
Lexi, you were talking about how that you started, and you didn't really stick with it at the beginning. It took me about a year to really start applying. I would sometimes do the homework, but it takes a long time to change the things in you that are deeply ingrained. Whenever you're learning new skills and you're learning ways that are going to help you cope, you sometimes run back to your old coping skills because it takes a long time to change. So, if you're trying to implement these skills, whoever you are, if you're trying to implement these skills, don't feel bad when you don't, because it takes a long time to rewire your brain.
Absolutely. I appreciate you sharing that it took you so long. I remember when you told me that, it made me feel more hopeful about, the situation. I felt like, oh my God, I shouldn't be here. I'm failing this, or and it helped to know that, because you have, I've already seen, like, you've grown so much. Both of you have, and you seem like you have your shit together a lot of the times. Pardon me. So seeing that, it's helped you in a lot of ways, but also that at first you weren't really applying it, like, that gave me a lot of hope.
I was going to the meetings every Wednesday, and then once Wednesday was over, I didn't think about it till next Wednesday.
Yep.
So I've been a
Just
lot of the time.
so, I mean, it just takes time. It takes time and real effort, but it's worth it. It's so worth it.
I love
I'm
that
glad you
all
said
the
that.
cats that are on camera are bathing. It's like a group bathe. I just don't have my cat here. It's just funny. They help a lot, kitty cats. You can be mindful with your cat or your pet, petting your cat and, feeling the texture of their fur, paying attention to how they're reacting to where you're petting them. And it's a very good mindful activity too. You can be mindful doing anything, but just really, paying attention and giving them the attention that they need. Aw, so freaking cute.
This is Waffles.
Yeah.
He has become my unofficial emotional support animal. Like, he's so sweet. And when we got him, you could tell he had been mistreated. Like, if you went to pet him, he would just flinch and pull back. But now, like, he got to the point where he's just, being completely loose and letting go, and just, letting me hold him in my arms. And so now it feels kind of mutual. Like, we're each other's support animals.
No, absolutely. It's so freaking adorable. I love my kitty cats, and they know when you're sad. And I thought it was funny. I was laughing to my aunt. I was like, is it weird that everybody in my support group has cats? I was like, is that part of the demographic for, needing to be in a support group or something? It's a
I am a
symptom.
crazy cat lady. I'm okay with that.
I know. I have two. I love
I
them.
have a special needs kitty who has become my constant companion. She knows that we rescued her from the situation that she was in, and she's just blossomed. But one of the things that always cracks me up, I take a nap during the day. I really shouldn't because I have really bad sleep patterns, but I take a nap during the day, and she always naps with me. Well, I was trying to stay awake the other day, and she started walking towards the bedroom, looked at me and meowed, and then got up on the bed and sat there for a second. Then she came back because I didn't follow her and looked at me like, did you not hear what I just said? Come on, it's nap time.
That's
I'll be
hilarious.
right back. There's someone knocking at the door.
You're fine. It's like, oh no, she left me. Hey, kitty. Oh, well. Yeah, we're all in the same support group, guys. The same DBT support group. That's why we're here, just trying to share some of the stuff that we've learned. Today we went over mindfulness, what skills, and the stop skill, and wise mind. So I hope that everybody enjoyed it. Do you guys have anything else to say?
I was gonna say, like, what Maria mentioned about, if you don't do this or that you're wanting to, like, practicing these skills. Don't beat yourself up for it. That's really important. And it's the same exact thing with mindfulness. Like when I first started trying to meditate, and I noticed my mind wandering, I would be like, "Oh God, like you failed" or something. Again, like I would sort of chastise myself in my head. But I've come to realize, with the help of other people and resources, that it's a good thing when you catch yourself. Like that's what we want to do, and it's okay to like have random thoughts because that's what our brains do. It's not your fault. And the more you do it, the easier it'll get. And thank you for
Um,
having me.
One thing I wanted to mention before we go is just a couple of ideas for practicing the observing and things like that. Because if you can't, that was one of my problems, is I couldn't think of everything that I should be observing or participating in or anything like that. But it's like things like lie on the ground and watch the clouds in the sky, or go for a walk and listen to the birds, notice the flowers and the trees and stuff like that. And then one that, the thing that I have a hard time with is participating. And whenever I read this, I realized that it's really not as hard as I thought. Whenever you're participating, it says things like dance to music. That's something I absolutely love to do.
Oh, we should have a dance
And oh yeah. Yeah, we should. Sing in the shower, sing and dance while watching TV. I like this one because I will never do it because I'm not a morning person. But it says jump out of bed and dance or sing before getting dressed. I love the
that.
idea,
I can
but
do
Yeah,
anyway, that's just what I was gonna mention. Do you need
absolutely.
me to redo the DBT? Oh, okay, you got it.
She is all over this.
No, oh yeah, I just put it down in there because somebody asked what it was. Um, so it just combines cognitive and behavioral therapy, incorporating methods from various practices, including Eastern mindfulness techniques, which just means like meditation and just be mindful. So Buddha was somebody that was very mindful, could calm his mind, and that's who I think of a lot when I think about meditation and mindfulness. I love his quotes. He was a very chill guy. Um, but that's
I
what
was.
DBT
Go
is.
ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
Sorry. Um, I was surprised to learn that Buddha was actually like a real human. He was just a dude like us.
Mhm.
And I don't know. I was not educated on uh, that religion or spirituality or whatever. So that's kind of embarrassing. I don't know why I admitted that I didn't know that, but I don't know.
Yeah,
I think it's inspirational that this dude could be mindful in a horrible situation that he was in and find peace within himself. Like that's
yeah.
how I want to be.
He's a very, very peaceful guy. And I think, like, I know for me, when I was younger, I was taught that that was bad, uh,
Mhm.
not to read about that stuff. But there's actually a really good book called, I think it's Buddhism and Christianity. Uh, and it's really, really good. Just about like centering yourself and making yourself more open and being able to pay attention to things in Christianity. So it doesn't matter like what religion you are, you can still incorporate meditation and mindfulness. Um, but
Since we're on that topic, I just want to mention real quick. Um, there is I guess, organization or group. Um, it's called Recovery Dharma, DHARMA, and it's not like AA, Alcoholics Anonymous, but that's the closest thing I can think of to compare it to. But it's not for just drugs or alcohol. Like you can apply the stuff that they talk about, and people share about stuff. Like you just I mean, it's the same sort of format. Like you go around the room and you talk about what you want to talk about, what's going on with you, or if you want, you don't have to talk. But it was really helpful to me, and I kind of want to get back into it, but I'm sort of focused on this right now, I guess. But if you're struggling with like addiction of any kind, or gambling or gaming or whatever it is,
Mm.
it's a really good group, and they have in-person meetings and also a lot of online meetings too right now. So
Yeah.
And one thing I wanted to mention, because I don't really do the spirituality thing because of the type of Christian that I am. Whenever it comes to like some of the meditations or stuff like that, but it doesn't matter what religion that you are, you can implement the wise mind. You can implement the peace that comes from it. You don't have to follow one specific thing. You can, I mean, the Bible itself has things that, like it says, look at the lily of the valley, how it doesn't toil or spin. And it's kind of for me, that scripture always made it a little bit calming because you have to observe. And that's one of the things that we're being taught here is observation. So I just wanted to throw that out there.
No, absolutely. It's good for people to know that you don't have to be afraid of it, because I know like my mom is afraid of it, but she was just taught different. But there's people in our group that are from all different types of religions, walks of life. We have people in our group that are LGBTQ. We're a very welcoming group. So,
All humans have issues. It
yeah.
doesn't matter who you are. We all need, honestly, I think in this day and age, pretty much everyone needs some sort of therapy.
Especially after
yeah,
COVID. Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
I think therapy would be good for everybody, but just take some time and look for resources. And we'll be back here on next Thursday talking about a different topic, but we'll still go over some of the other things just for new people. But definitely come back and see us. Thank you,
Thanks,
ladies.
everybody.